A student from Eastern Washington University was killed this weekend after he was dragged behind a pickup truck for at least 10 miles.
Jared Sturman Kamen still had a rope around his neck when sheriff's deputies stopped the truck along North LeClaire Road, 25 miles north of Newport.
We have in-depth coverage tonight. KXLY4's Janet O live at Eastern, where the victim was a student, and KXLY4's Jeff Humphrey live in Pend Oreille County. And Jeff, Wendell Sin is facing now a second-degree murder charge.
Yeah, David, it appears that Mr. Sin had formed an ill-conceived plan to drag an unwanted guest from his campsite. Sin had actually tied the victim to his pickup truck when Sin's son unexpectedly drove off. Wendell Sin and his son were spending the weekend in this campground hunting when about a half dozen other people showed up. At first, the guests were welcome, but after several rounds of drinks, 20-year-old Jared Sturman Kamen became belligerent, allegedly threatening the Sins with an axe. Sin, seen here in court, then told his son to get into their pickup and drive off at the first sign of trouble. However, Sin then managed to get a rope around the 20-year-old's neck and tied it off to the truck's trailer hitch. Witnesses say the 17-year-old then heard his father yell and then tore down the road for the next 10 miles. This is where deputies found Sturman Kamen's battered body still tied to the vehicle. Crews used sand to conceal the victim's road rash. His clothing, including part of his belt, still littered the highway. Today in court, Sin's attorney told the judge that Sin was acting in self-defense.
It was least type of restraint. They were trying to restrain this person who was out of control.
And it was inadvertent that once the person was restrained, they ended up being dragged down the road.
That's correct. And, it's a tragedy of everybody concerned, including my client.
Now, Sin, who has no criminal history, is being held tonight in lieu of a $100,000 bond. He's been ordered to surrender all of his firearms to the sheriff's office, and if he's able to bail out of jail, he's been ordered not to drink any alcohol. Reporting live in Pend Oreille County, Jeff Humphrey, KXLY4.
Well, friends and family are in disbelief tonight.
In shock that something like this could happen to 20-year-old Jared Sturman Kamen.
KXLY4's Janet O live at Eastern Washington University, where Jared went to school. Janet?
Well, Robin, Jared Sturman Kamen enrolled in Eastern Washington University last fall. He also joined the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity. And tonight, on this cold, bitter night, his fraternity brothers will hold a vigil for him, a chance to remember and say goodbye to their friend. Dedicated, fun-loving, and kind are all words friends use to describe Jared Sturman Kamen. He was a 20-year-old sophomore at Eastern Washington University. Pend Oreille County Sheriff's Office found Sturman Kamen's body on the ground tied to a trailer hitch over the weekend. Officials say he was dragged to death. How this could have happened, friends want answers. They say he was supposed to be on a hunting trip with his father. Already dozens of messages have been posted on his MySpace page. To many, he's known as Bubba. We miss you and love you, Bubba. You will never leave our hearts. Another friend writes, I will always remember you running up the sideline for your first of many touchdowns you scored our sophomore year. His younger sister, who also attends EWU, writes, you are the best big brother in the world. Tom Hanrihan, president of Sigma Phi Epsilon at EWU, says Jared joined the fraternity last fall and moved into the house right away.
And he was one of the good old boys. Like he was into hunting, and very big with his family, always talking about his family life. He was really dedicated and trained with the MMA, and everything he did, he was proud of it, and he did everything 110%.
And that's what he did this summer when he got into mixed martial arts. He trained a couple times a week at the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Center in Spokane. He went on to win the title of light heavyweight champion in ultimate cage fighting. Friends say he excelled in fighting, but would never use his skills to threaten anyone.
Fun-loving guy. He was dedicated to what he was doing. I was trying to help him out in his MMA career.
Well, we did learn Jared grew up in the west side of the state in Kitsap County, and he was a top athlete at his high school in both wrestling and football. And before he came to EWU, he briefly attended WSU, where he was charged with felony burglary, but that charge was dismissed. Reporting live in Cheney, Janet O, KXLY4.